Hey everyone, Vince here from the Untitled Podcast. This week we're going to be talking about random stuff, movies we've watched, TV shows we've watched, things we'd like to see, and just whatever goes in the conversation. So we hope you enjoy, and so let's get into it. So David, you were telling us that you were watching Moon Knight.
Yeah, man. Just kind of started off like I don't know anything about the character whatsoever. I all I've ever heard is, oh man, Iron Man isn't the Bruce Wayne of Marvel. It's Moon Knight and Mark Spector, and I'm like, okay, cool. And see his costume and like the whatchamacallit, the Ultimate Alliance games. It's like, okay, yeah, it looks pretty cool. All that. I never knew that he had all the multiple personalities. I never knew that, anything. I didn't realize it was an Egyptian god, that he was kind of Shazamish, right? In the way that he functions, sort of. Like I didn't realize anything about him was supernaturally derived and all that other stuff. So it was pretty good. That first episode was definitely really interesting, the way that they play with your sense of the narrator to start with. And then I really dug a lot of I'm just big on the supernatural stuff. So seeing how they incorporated like a lot of the Egyptian gods and stuff. There's some stuff in it that doesn't make sense, but I don't know if that's just it not making sense because maybe it's a thing that's in the comics and I'm just not familiar, or if it's outright just doesn't make sense. But yeah, y'all have to watch it and let me know one of these days what.
Yeah, I mean, because this allows like them to bring in like Hercules for the Greek gods, since we already have, the Norse gods with Thor and all that.
Yeah.
Um,
And with them bringing in Gore the God Butcher, who knows what other ones they're going to use to cross over or cross through on that one as well. Because Zeus is going to be in Love and Thunder.
Yeah.
So it's probably where Hercules make a cameo.
Dad said that he enjoyed Doctor Strange a lot. So
yeah, I read that.
He went to go see it with Logan yesterday, and then he took Amber and them out for her birthday.
That's awesome.
Cool.
Happy birthday, sis.
Yes.
I've heard kind of mixed things on it. Like, yeah, but I think some of the mixed things also come from the people that either didn't watch WandaVision or didn't care for the end of WandaVision. She's kind of a dick.
She's pretty evil in the comics.
And that's the funny thing, right? Like, she starts off as a villain in the movies with her brother, kind of, and then they start to sort of turn her into the good person, and then they heel turn her again.
Yeah.
And then they try to face turn her back, and they just kind of keep back and forthing with her. So
that's kind of what they're doing in the comics with her.
I mean, when you're as dysfunctional and messed up as she is, it's kind of hard to stay one way or another, especially whenever all of her anchor points keep getting removed, right? First her brother dies, then Vision dies, then her totally not realistic kids get
not real,
unrealed or whatever,
Well, and they took away her dad, who's Magneto.
Well, you can't take away what she never had, right? Because did they ever even establish their parents in this universe? It was just kind of like Loki.
Yes. Yeah, they did.
Did they?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they were in the apartment.
Yeah, when the bomb went off.
That whole sequence in the apartment. Wasn't that in like Endgame or something? Or was it
I think it was Endgame or one of the Infinity War.
Yeah.
One of them had the whole thing about the revelation about her parents and everything being there, and
yeah, because they were watching.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Stuff. Or she was trapped in the rubble or whatever, and there was that TV that she.
And that could have been her actual WandaVision, because I can't remember now either, where any of her flashbacks. So
yeah,
I've dumped a lot of other movies and comics and video games in my head since I've watched WandaVision.
Yeah, and But yeah, I mean, it's one of those things where I'll probably wind up seeing Doctor Strange and whenever it hits streaming. I don't know if I'll actually go to the theater and see it. Um, I did get out to go see The Northman though on Friday. Amber and I went to go watch that. I really dug it. It's not for everybody. It's a very slow burn of a movie, but man, there's so many good little bits throughout that entire movie of just sprinkling things in. And that's the weird thing is it kind of drags towards the middle, but I don't know what you take out of the middle to make it move faster because there's so much there that you need for the story overall. But there's some pretty cool twists and turns, some kind of unexpected stuff that comes up in it, and kind of like it was like the Green Knight in the sense that I liked how it handled the supernatural in that world, but I preferred it over the Green Knight because there wasn't a weird portion in the middle where he got high on shrooms and saw a bunch of giants and then woke up the next morning and nothing happened, right? Like this, every scene, everything had a purpose leading to the next step towards his vengeance. So it was pretty good. I dug it. Of all the I haven't seen The Witch. So I'd say of all of this guy's movies, this one's been the best, but the only other one I've seen of his, because it's the only one he's ever did, was The Lighthouse, which is a weird ass movie. Like it's good, but I've seen it once and I think I'm good. I don't know that I ever really want to go back and revisit it. It was out there.
Well, only things I watched all of season 2 of Tiger and Bunny. That was really good. They introduced some new characters. They kind of played up on the hero dynamics of the teams because they decided that since the main characters in the first season were the only duo out of all the superheroes, they decided to do it again for everyone else. So you had these characters that just had to work with each other and learn their flaws. And it was just kind of like, all right, whose character is it next? Here's this person in their scenario. And then here's this person. And then eventually it started building up to this whole, like, the story arc, the big bad between these two, the big fight between these two guys. Then it wrapped up pretty well. I felt it should have been a little bit longer. Because it would have gave gravity to what these two these two supervillains were doing. I mean, you really kind of see how bad they are towards the end. But it was good. I enjoyed it. I'm looking forward to where they're going to go with the next season. And then Ultraman was great. I enjoyed the Netflix Ultraman a lot. And I'm looking for actually today we're recording this on Friday the 13th. So happy Jason Voorhees Day, everyone.
There you go.
The Ultraman, Shin Ultraman came out in theaters, in select theaters or whatever, nationwide. Apparently, I couldn't find a theater wherever I'm at that has it playing right now.
It should be on VOD or something too.
Probably. I need to check because I really want to watch it because this is supposed to be the next movie in the Shinverse.
Right.
So yeah, I have not watched a single episode of Tiger and Bunny. I barely even know what it is. I know it's a superhero anime, but I just never sat down. Like the only superhero animes that I've sat down and actually watched all of was One Punch Man was the first.
Mm-hmm.
Right, I watched 1 and season 2 of that, knocked it out real quick just because of how awesome it is.
Oh yeah, One Punch is great.
And then I finally sat down and started watching My Hero because from my understanding, it sounds like My Hero is actually going to go to a point where it will end. And I'm so happy about that because that anime feels like it could be Naruto, Bleach, One Piece levels of just never-ending nonsense.
Well, Naruto was, I mean, originally the creator of that series wanted to do a 3-arc structure. So you had him as a kid, him as a teenager, now him as a Hokage with his son running around with his crazy antics. So hopefully at the end of Boruto, it'll be the end of it. But we'll see.
Yeah, but you got to deal with Baruto to get to the end of it, and who wants to do that?
It's like Bart Simpson. No, I'm joking. No, but Tiger and Bunny is basically kind of like if superheroes were advertised or publicized. So like
The boys.
you can't do
Yeah, like-
anything without the public being or like the media being there to cover it. So
All
this
right.
is giant, like it's all about ratings and spectacle and stuff, and they get points per what they do depending on the villains they take out. And then at the end of the year, they have like this big reward ceremony of like who is the top hero. So it's kind of like the extreme of where I could see my hero going eventually.
Huh.
I mean, One Punch kind of does that, right? With all the hero rankings that they have throughout that.
Yeah.
You know, they established that early, but in the show, you can fight your way up to higher rankings, right? So,
Well, and then the main character, he has like he was this big hero and everything, and he had he's gotten to the point where he can only like use his ability like for like 5 minutes or something like that because it's wearing out. It's kind of like All Might with his only being able to be in that form for a certain amount of time.
yeah, but that was because he was injured, right?
Well,
I mean, it was-
true.
technically, it was that it was just straining his body too hard
Mhm.
with his injury on top of it. That's what was keeping him from maintaining that form for long. But yeah, I don't know, man. I've got so many shows I need to make my way through. I might give it a look.
But yeah, the other thing I was watching was like I was telling you guys earlier, but Tokyo Vice.
Yeah.
It reminds me of like a live action Yakuza series, but it follows an American that who starts as a teacher in Tokyo teaching English and then ends up getting into a very high esteemed newspaper firm. And it's one of those ones that like only Japanese people can get into. And he was able to pass the test like with flying colors and get in and get selected. And he's just discriminated against. But it's his journey of getting these stories and him becoming friends with this really top level investigator cop or whatever.
Is that
Which is
Watanabe?
yeah, Ken Watanabe's character. Yeah.
Nice?
Yeah, and it's got like English and Japanese, so subtitles. It feels great, man. Just watching it, I enjoy it, but it reminds me of playing Yakuza.
Cool. Yeah, I need to sit down and watch that, man. It's again so much stuff, so little time. Trying
Right.
to get through. I was planning on knocking out. I had so many great plans this weekend, and then whatever this respiratory infection was, just
Kicked your butt.
Yeah. Yeah, we went out to Oswego yesterday, about 20 minutes away, looking for pieces for a PS4 controller. We ended up in GameStop, and I saw this hideous 17-inch All Might giant Funko. Oh God! It just didn't look right. And you know, and they've got a bunch of the big ones. Like they had the giant zombie cap, and at Walmart had the giant Iron Man one, and they just look hideous that big. You know, like they had a good one that was right with them though. They had a Shinron.
Mm-hmm.
The Shinron looks good at 17 inches.
Oh yeah, definitely.
That makes sense. But they had Shinron right next to All Might, so it was like day and night. And I'm looking at that giant lightning brow looking thing on his head, and it's like, oh, it looked awful.
He's like Hayachi with hair instead of
Over a foot. It was just it was like a horror show. I couldn't look away.
yeah. Things in cute dimensions, once you blow them up, to no longer are cute.
No.
They give you nightmares and they want to eat your food at night.
Yeah, it's just like, and I love the concept of the whole zombie thing and what if, but they don't need to be this big. You know, they don't. You know, I can't even get my hands in the whole frame. It's just ridiculous. Yeah, it just 2 or 3 of those, and you need a new shelf. Forget it.
Man,
Yeah.
that's where like I just closed out my backer kit for the Marvel Zombicide game, right?
Okay.
And I kept looking because they've got the Galactus expansion that's only going to be for the Kickstarter, and I just keep looking at it. I'm like, it's $180. I do not want to drop $180 to get this like 2-foot Galactus statue.
Yeah.
That's a part of the game, right? It's like his own game mode, comes with Silver Surfer, all this stuff. I'm just like, but I don't want a 2-foot statue of Galactus, and I'm not willing to pay $180 for it.
Right.
Can y'all just let me pay you like 30 or 40 like any of the other expansions, so I can get like, you can give me some fancy little base or whatever, and then Silver Surfer and the rest of the expansion, and I'll give you money for that. Just not this. I don't need this.
Yeah.
I could see it standing like right behind you on your shelf at the top there,
I'm
glaring
back over here.
down, ready to eat the planet Earth.
At
was
that
crazy
point, I would
was-
want a Funko one.
What was crazy was that I was reading people's comments whenever the Kickstarter was first going on, and they're saying how it was a similar thing for one of the Kickstarters they did the year before, which was Cthulhu Death May Die. And with that, it came with this humongous Cthulhu statue. And so I guess Come On is just starting to get into the business of big ass figures for their Kickstarters. Like they think that's what is going to draw people in. So I can only imagine what the hell their next thing is going to be.
So do you have room to open up another order to get the a second set?
What do you mean?
Because normally when you do the Kickstarter and the backer stuff, and you close your backer order, you can order a second base set
Yeah.
with the stretch goals.
Yeah.
How much is it?
I don't know if I can go. I think I can still go back and make adjustments to it. like once you set it, well, I don't know. I'd have to go back and look because
Yeah, let me know and let me know how much it is. I might do that because I missed out on the because it was just the wrong time.
Yeah.
Just like we had a GI Joe board game come out through, and I'm like, oh cool, I just found out about this. Oh, it ends at 72 hours. Oh, I'm at a trip right now where I'm spending money to have fun and do other things. I can't just drop whatever it was to give me some more time. Let me know ahead of time. Don't do like, all right, here's your advertisement. It's up for 72 hours instead of the 30 days you have normally.
Sorry, man. I would if I thought you knew about it. I would have let you know because I had backed one of their Power Rangers ones.
Yeah.
So, like the day that Kickstarter went off, they sent out a little email like, "Oh, hey, who wants to get in on this Kickstarter?" And I was like, "Well, I already own way too much of y'all shit, and I already have way too much Zombicide stuff, so I'm gonna have to pass." Like that's I keep seeing these Kickstarters come up with all this cool stuff. Like there was one where you were playing detectives in New Orleans, and you're going around chasing down and like defeating various monsters and things. It looked really cool. It was app driven. Like supposedly the story, the way the story unfolded, different choices and things you could make would alter the state of like your characters, and there was like all this customability to it. And I just at the end of the day, I was looking at it and I'm like, I can't do it. Sorry guys. I'm not forking over the dough right now. I would probably play it like maybe twice, and then it would go into the background shelf somewhere. The Dark Quarter, that's what it was called.
Oh, nice.
Really,
Okay.
It looked really,
Sounds
really
cool.
Fun kind of sounds like Dylan Dog.
Kind
Going
of.
around New Orleans, hunting
Yeah.
down supernatural stuff and monsters and
Mhm.
everything.
Yeah, kind of like that. So yeah, it again, like there's that's been, that's the problem. That's my problem with Kickstarter, right? You see all these really cool concepts and things that people come up with for these board games, or just neat little ideas for them, and I just look at them like, that's really cool, but do I really want to spend $50, wait a year, have this thing show up, sit down with the family, maybe play it twice,
Yeah.
and then throw it in the background? I don't know.
Well, I got we just cleaned the table this weekend, so whenever my buddy Paul, his wife Jess, and his kids were down, they were visiting family, and they went to Galveston and stuff. I helped them get a hotel and a rental car and stuff, and they went to go eat out twice, and then we barbecued Sunday. I was like, man, I got this table clean now. I could start playing board games again.
Cool.
But I just got the email that I should be getting my They Live board game July.
Nice.
So comes with the sunshades. It came with 4 sets of sunshades that you can use to play the game. That like you can see hidden messages on the little cards and stuff.
Oh, nice.
It comes with a T-shirt. I got a poster. Yeah, it's gonna be really cool once it comes in. I want to do a review on it, but
Yeah, and actually, I saw on Miniature Market, I think they posted up a thing where I guess a new batch of the Thing board game plus the expansion, the Norwegian Outpost.
yeah, I need that part. I need the Norwegian Outpost. I gotta look that up.
Dude, like the day I saw it, I was like, "Oh, hey, this is out. I wonder how," and it was sold out. I was like, "Son of a, but you people, just so quick, man." I mean, it's like if you're not on top of it, it's gone.
Well, I still need the Big Trouble Little China one. There's a card game one, and there's actually a board game one I saw that I want to try to find.
Wow.
I hadn't seen either of those two, but it doesn't surprise me.
Yeah,
There's so many
board games. Yeah,
just random IPs out there that have board games to them. It blows my mind. Like one day when I was looking around, I'm like, Borderlands. When the hell did this happen? Looked up the people that were putting it out. I'd never heard of them before. It turned out they had just done a Kickstarter for a Cyberpunk, like the RPG Cyberpunk, right? The 2077 and all that was based on.
Yeah.
It's just come out that they like just kickstarted it, and then right after ending that one, they immediately rolled into a Borderlands one. I was like, all right, well, I mean that's cool and all, but maybe you guys should finish the other one before you start this one and make sure you can deliver, because so far I have yet to be burned on a Kickstarter. Knock on whatever I need to make sure that keeps happening.
I've only been burned once.
Man, that's why I try to make sure that I'm like, okay, let me take a look at this company. Have they done Kickstarters in the past? They have. Awesome. Have they delivered? Yes. All right, I'm on board.
I'm on board. Yeah. Yeah, today it was the Evil Dead game came out.
Oh.
And it's crossplay. Yeah, it's a video game. It's 4-on-1. So you play 4 heroes against one Deadite lead or overlord that can spawn different Deadites and other things. But yeah, it looks awesome. But it's crossplay between all systems. So if I got it on the Xbox, you got it on PS4, and Colin got it on the computer, we could all play together. So that's really cool.
Cool.
Yeah.
Could be fun.
And it's got Bruce Campbell, and a lot of the cast came back to do the voices of the characters.
Nice.
Yeah, they brought back some of the folks from Army of Darkness. They brought the people back from the TV show. They brought people, I mean, just the movies, the TV show, across the board. They brought folks in to join in on it. I thought that was really cool.
And I saw that you had the collector's edition. I totally missed out on that one. That you could get the a full colored version replica of the Necronomicon, and like a statue of Ash, and just all this other extra stuff, or vinyl record from the soundtrack of the game. It's like, dang it.
Yeah.
Man,
did you catch the announcement about the Alan Wake TV series?
No,
No, they announced yesterday that they're doing an Alan Wake series.
I would be totally down for that.
I'll find the link and send it.
Okay.
It was it caught my interest like right away. I'm like, oh, hello.
You know, I never played those games. The first one came and went so quick, and I never got to it. Right. and then what? There's been one sequel, I think.
Yeah,
'cause
well, it
Alan Wake,
it
they
was
did one
a
sequel, and then they did a remake, right? Because the remake is the one that came out.
well, they did a DLC for American Nightmare, I think it was, or something like that. For Alan Wake, and then if you play Control, there's connections to Alan Wake and Control. And actually, it's more in the DLC for it. So I'm still working my way through Control. I enjoy that too. It's really cool.
Yeah, after watching The Northman, I'm like, you know what? I kind of want to play some kind of Nordic game, but I don't own Assassin's Creed Valhalla, and I'm not spending $60 on a game right now. I've got too many I need to beat my way through. So
yeah,
I'm trying to look through and see what Nordic style games I've got laying around that I can go and sink my teeth into, and not really many. So I guess I'll just go back to Elden Ring and put on some cool Norse armor or something, or get it into Skyrim again for the first time in like 7-8 years. And just make a Nord and have them dual wield hand axes and see how far that gets me.
The game that will never stop. It's like, hey guys, Bethesda, Skyrim, the new version for the PS5, Skyrim.
When the most mind-blowing moment for me with Skyrim and its never-ending versions was the day I saw who was it? Key, right? Of Key and Peele was doing a commercial, and they were using Alexa to play Skyrim. So it was basically like a text adventure version of Skyrim. And I'm like, that's not real. Come on, guys, that's a joke. I Googled it. No, it's legit. I'm like, okay, Bethesda, come on.
This
guys.
is RPG time.
Like, calm down with this nonsense.
Yeah.
You know, if y'all would just stop wasting your time with all the MMOs and just give us the next Elder Scrolls,
or the next Fallout. Yeah.
Like,
how about let Obsidian do Fallout New Vegas 2?
Never gonna happen, my dude.
I know. Fallout Texas, man. Fallout Texas.
Was Outer Worlds.
I know.
Now they're doing Outer Worlds too, which, I mean, Outer Worlds is fine. I liked it enough. I haven't played any of the DLC because COVID made it take an extra like year and a half to come out. So by that point, I'd already moved on to a ton of other stuff, and another one that's on the shelf that I'm like, oh yeah, I need to go back and play the rest of that.
Oh man. Well, then the physical version of Sifu came out.
Of what?
Sifu. It's the one about the
Sifu,
yeah, Sifu. Sorry. You're a martial arts master who every time you die you can come back, but you gain like a year. And the further
and I've seen some gameplay of it. I guess you get abilities or something, because there's like the braided thing with the rings in it, and each
that's the thing you have. That's how you come back to life.
Right.
Eventually, after you use so many of that, it eventually breaks and you can't be brought back to life.
Oh.
But, yeah, no, that game looks really cool. It's on the list somewhere, buried.
Same here. I'm like, I'm gonna get it eventually.
It's like I beat Elden Ring, but I haven't beaten Melania. She's technically the only boss in that game I have yet to go and deal with. And her area is just such a pain in the ass to get through that I just haven't gone and done it. So then I turned around and I started playing Horizon Forbidden West, and I'm making my way through that. But at the same time, I'm still trying to beat Nolan Ryan's strikeout record. I'm 200 strikeouts away. Gonna make it, damn it, before I retire that character. It's taken so long. God, Nolan Ryan, why were you so good? It's 5,714 strikeouts?
I think so.
Something like that.
It's insane. I'm averaging 350 strikeouts a season, and it's taken me, almost 20 seasons to beat this stupid record. I'm like, good Lord, man. You were a freak mutant of a person. And it's so awesome.
Well, now he sells sausage and meats and stuff.
Sells his beef, man.
Mm-hmm. All around beef.
Pinch
Hell
hit
yeah.
beef.
Come down to Texas. The funny thing is, I'm making a Texan accent, and I'm a Texan myself.
Right. That's one of the funniest things, right? Accents. I know I have one, but I don't really hear it until we went to California for my wife's nephew's wedding. And while we were there and we were talking, right, some of the people in the store were like, "Where are y'all from?" Like, "We're from Texas." Like, we knew it. Oh my gosh. Blah 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 blah. Like, okay. I mean, I guess
That's when you
I've
say,
got-
"Y'all, come on, let's go." When
I've got cousins that have much deeper draws than I do.
I know it's funny because Anna was making that joke too. It's like, man, I could just imagine how Paul and Jess are, that like hearing us with their y'alls and all the other little ticks that we have as Texans here, or how we pronunciate words.
See, whenever I start taking on like whenever I start trying to go into a real nasty hick accent, my wife absolutely hates it. She's like, that's not how people in Texas talk. I'm like, yeah, but that's how everybody thinks we talk. They make us sound like we got this weird ass drawl to everything. And it's just crazy. It's like we talk through our teeth, and our tongue sits right on the back of those teeth up in the front. And you almost got to give yourself an underbite the whole time you're talking. Put in a little, little chew, and man, you're good. You're just good to go.
Oh man, all I could think of is freaking. Oh Jesus!
I was holding it together until you started laughing. That was
Why don't
good.
y'all come down here? We got a sad thing is like I got a lot of my dad in me, so I get that little Louisiana words in here sometimes, and it's like he's the only one I've ever been around besides my family. When I went down there, the maybe 3 times we went down to Louisiana or over to Louisiana.
Oh no, dude. I've got cousins that live right on the border of East Texas, and some of them live in East Texas. Some of them live in Louisiana. Man, whenever we go out to family reunions and all that, especially if my mom goes with us, at a certain point, we can't understand her anymore. Mom, we don't speak Cajun. Come back. Please come back to us. I don't know what you just said. Yes, the food is good. Come back to us. Speak normal. At least speak East Texan. At least speak East Texan, and then we can kind of understand you. I can't understand that Cajun stuff. I also blame it on the fact that they don't use O's in anything, right? It's all EAUXs. I swear to God, I was driving down the road the other day, and I look up, and someone had a van that was painted in camouflage, like brown and green colors. And on the side of it, it said Rambo. But
And BAUX.
yes, RAMBEAUX. And I'm like, I just want to run you off the road right now. Like, no. Why would you do that?
I'm the grammar and spelling police. No.
No, it just irritates the shit out of me that it's everything, right?
Yeah.
I'm like, y'all are just
Boudreaux's.
everything. And so I work with a couple people that come from Louisiana. So I will purposefully misspell everything. I will take any O sound in a word, and I'll replace it with that. And at a certain point, they start typing me back. They're like, "Will you please stop that?" I'm like, "This is how y'all spell, right? This is how it works."
It's like, all right, what's this word right over here? It's no.
It's like, damn you, Duck Dynasty, you didn't prepare me for this.
right? I was not ready. Oh, Swamp People though. Swamp People definitely prepared me. Those subtitles really help. You know, you sit there, you listen really hard. It's like sitting down and watching Telemundo with subtitles. After a while, you might actually start picking up the language. Same thing with Swamp People.
So we're talking about a 13th Warrior here, right? So we're traveling with Norsemen to this island, and you just pick up on the language. My mother.
Dude, speaking of interesting, like that scene in that movie was it was such a cool way of like making an excuse for this is why we all understand everybody in English, because he figured out the language.
Exactly. Or you just do the whole thing of like, oh, look, here's a translator device. Everybody speaks English because it's translating it for the audience.
Yeah, like a babble fish.
Right? Yeah, no, man. I need to watch. I'm gonna watch that movie this weekend for sure. After watching The Northman last weekend, gonna sit down and watch 13th Warrior this weekend, because that's another good one, man. And that was a dude, like the guy who plays Bullseye in that would have made such a good Thor. He just looks Thor.
Yeah.
He looks so awesome. Like, yeah, give that man a hammer and a red cape, just have him twirl it and start hit shit. Oh, I'm down with that.
So here's a throwback, because Dad was talking about it. We were talking about Vincent D'Onofrio, and one of one of his first movies besides Full Metal Jacket is Adventures in Babysitting.
Yes.
And he looks like a perfect Thor in that movie, because because the girl's all like, "You look like Thor." Awkward silence here. David's having to look this up.
I am.
Yeah,
He's got like these.
It's like a 5-minute
golden locks hair, and then like with a baseball cap.
And he's chiseled.
Yeah, he's chiseled out. He's like.
It's like a 5-minute scene while they're getting the car repaired.
Yeah.
I'll have to look it up. I'll have to, because Adventures in Babysitting didn't immediately take me to it. I was hoping there would just be some random thing in there, but it's fine. I'll look it up later.
Have you never seen the movie
Adventures in Babysitting? No.
Yeah. Really?
Wow, David.
Dude, for all of the movies I have seen, there is this large swath of random stuff I have not, right? And so much of it I'm trying to catch up on. Some of it, so much of it I'm trying to maintain movies that come out now, and at the same time run in the back and pick up movies that I never saw. So like, I mean, Big Trouble in Little China, technically I've watched that movie for the first time like 5 years ago. I'm telling you, man, like just certain movies, it's taken me a long time and I'm getting around to them, but we're making progress, right? Like again, like another John Carpenter movie, Prince of Darkness. I watched Prince of Darkness for the first time 3 years ago.
Such a great movie.
Yeah. No.
Well, in the just to go back to what you were saying though about movies and stuff. I mean, Elizabeth Shue and Jennifer Connelly. I mean, come on, those are, as a little boy, that was like, as beauty was,
Yeah.
But then I forget that you're younger than I am.
By a little bit.
A little bit.
It's weird because I guess the stuff that I watched growing up puts me in this weird middle ground. Like I've seen a bunch of the stuff that a lot of my peers had. But at the same time, I used to watch Boomerang and a bunch of other stuff, so I'm also aware of a bunch of like old cartoons and things. Like I would talk about, I would try to remember from different people. I'm like, yeah, there was a movie with a bunch of people and they would do these stupid races, and like none of the characters really looked like anybody that I knew. And there was this dude who had a weird like red and purple hat with a dog, and no one knew what that was. And I'm like, oh yeah, it's Wacky Races, right? I remembered that eventually going down the line, but it's like little stuff like that, technically right before my time, but because I watched a lot of Boomerang and stuff, I watched a lot of those old cartoons. So I
Those
had
Hanna-Barbera stuff. Yeah.
yeah, man, Hanna-Barbera.
Kick Yesterday and Mumbly, man.
It was good stuff, man. I love those old cartoons. And that was one of the funny things was I was thinking about it. My son had a concert the other day, and they were doing they did a little bit of classical music in there. And for whatever reason, it made me think about the fact that Looney Tunes technically introduced me to opera because of, What's Opera Doc, right?
Yeah.
Where they do the Ride of the Valkyries famously with, Kill the Wabbit and My Spear and Magic Helmet, right? And the whole bit of the Barber of Seville between Bugs and
Elmer.
and oh my God,
I was doing this.
Yeah, it's Elmer.
Elmer, there we go. I couldn't think of it, man. His name was completely drawn a blank. But yeah, him and Elmer, the Barber of Seville, going over there, sprinkling all the growth on his head, and then it turns into flowers, and they're both pumping the chairs as high as they can go.
Yep.
Man, Looney Tunes was so good back in the day, man. I watched that all the time at my grandparents' house. Loved that stuff.
Yeah, sadly, it didn't translate to games very well.
No.
Man, I played the shit out of what was it, Bugs Bunny, the Castle one on the original Game Boy. What was it, like Bugs Bunny in his Crazy Castle or something like that?
Yeah, I think so. It's been a while.
It's been a long while, dude. It was original Game Boys. What we're talking.
Was that one based on the cartoon with him and Dracula? The game?
I couldn't tell you. I don't remember.
I can't remember.
I have to look it up.
Yeah. Bugs Bunny Crazy Castle. Bugs Bunny Crazy Castle 2 and Bugs Bunny Crazy Castle 3.
Huh.
Man, I played the bejesus out of those games back in the day. There was a lot of those, right? Like the Animaniacs game came out. That one was pretty fun, but they were all just, basic platformers, but that was what everything was back in the day, right?
Right.
Oh yeah, most of those were. I mean, even like the Tiny Toon stuff.
Yeah.
The only one of those Steven Spielberger stuff that didn't go anywhere besides cartoon was Freakazoid.
Which was a crying shame,
Yes,
man.
it was a great show. Especially when he would go to the cons and stuff and meet like Mark Hamill and all that. That was
dude, the best character. I'm sorry, the two best characters for me in Freakazoid were Candlejack, of course. Right? Man, the first time I saw that episode and all the kids rush to the windows and they all start shouting his name, and he just pauses and he turns and he looks at the camera and he goes, "I'm gonna need more rope." Like, just the delivery of that line, even as a kid, I lost it. I died laughing at that bit. But Ricardo Montalban in that show, right? I am not the weenie. You are the weenie.
Yeah.
Oh my God, man. And then the part where he's dressed up like the Phantom of the Opera and he's playing the whole organ and doing this whole dramatic thing. And even in the middle of that, I am not the weenie. Oh, dude. I loved Freakazoid. Freakazoid was so good.
And it made what? One season, one and maybe a partial or something?
I think it made 2. But yeah, that was, man, that was one of the tragedies. That show was so funny.
It deserves so much. Freakazoid showed up in God, I want to see Teen Titans Go. He showed up. He did a cameo somewhere.
I was about to say, I'm sure they've cameoed
years ago. At one time, there was one cameo a couple years ago. I think he was Teen Titans Go.
That would make sense. I mean, it would make sense for him to pop up in that show. That's definitely of all the current generation shows, that's the one that would definitely warrant Freakazoid popping into.
Yeah.
Man, it still blows me away that show's still going. That show's been going for so long now, and they just keep more. They keep doing more tie-ins. I saw some commercial the other day. They're doing another Teen Titans Go tie-in. It's like, good Lord, man, that thing's just been a moneymaker hand over fist for them. It's been insane.
I mean, yeah, they dumbed it down, but it's a behemoth. You know?
It is hard. As much as, you know, yeah, the overall style of the show is something I don't particularly care for that show, right? It's, man, it's killed it. I mean, it has to be killing it in terms of ratings for them to constantly be churning out more of it the way that they have been. And then the fact that they keep trying to make other shows basically copy that formula, right? It's like what they try to do with Thundercats, right? It's like every couple of things they try to bring in, and when they want to reboot it, they're like, oh yeah, let's just give it the Teen Titans Go treatment and it'll be fine. Like, you can't do that with everything though.
No,
right?
you can't. That's so annoying.
Like Teen Titans was just, it was the lightning in the bottle of the time, right? You had just the right mix of zaniness from the original show that they just kind of cranked up to 11. And so you could see how they got to Teen Titans Go from the original Teen Titans. Whether you like it or not, they just took the seriousness of it, stripped it all out, took all the silly jokes to it, cranked it as high as it would go, and then they just went nuts with it and made a little bit of shorts out of it. And it's been a killer for them. So every once in a while they make stuff that interests me, right? Like that whole storyline where they go into that weird 80s world. The Night Begins to Shine, I think, was the song that they played for it. I was there for that. The character designs for them when they're in the 80s alternate universe look awesome. I was like, man, just give me a show of this. Give me a show where it's all nothing but laser unicorns and chrome and spiky mohawks, all that, man. Give me that. That'd be awesome.
Didn't they have a Teen Titans Go versus Teen Titans crossover movie or something?
Maybe.
I don't know. Maybe.
I seem to remember something about that too.
Because after they moved away from they canceled Teen Titans, I just
hold on.
I stopped caring.
Yeah. And they went into the whole Go stuff. I was like, I don't know.
Yeah. It's like the Legion of Superheroes cartoon. That was a really good thing. And then second season of it started getting a little weird, and you just knew that the end was coming.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it started off good and strong, and they didn't have to have Superboy. They didn't have to have any of that stuff. They were able to carry it on their own. I'm like, okay, this is Legion of Superheroes. You know, that's what I grew up with.
The one that hurt the most for me was the Green Lantern animated series, right?
Oh, yeah.
That series, I wasn't sure about it when it started off, right? Because, you know, they were flying around with a ship. It was
a little weird. It was definitely a little,
yeah. It was almost Star Trek Voyager-ish in the sense that, oh yeah, we're stranded on the other side of the universe. It's like, you have power rings. You can literally, like, the ring can allow you to travel through space faster than what y'all are doing.
Right.
So, but you know, they had to hamstring, you know, they had to depower them a little bit just to give them that ability. But man, that show started getting really good. And then the second half of it, when they realized, oh hey, we're not going to get another season, so let's just throw literally everything at this show. And you had Anti-Monitor taking over the Manhunters, going into the Book of Black, introducing the Blue Lanterns. Like, man, that show would have been so awesome if it had been able to go on and get into the full spectrum of all the different lanterns, doing the Blackest Night, all that stuff. It would have been great. And what's kind of cool is the most recent season of Young Justice that's going on right now.
Oh, yeah.
They actually took Razor from that Green Lantern show, right? The Red Lantern dude, and they brought him into it. And he has a really cool scene with Metatron where he gets a blue ring. And
he was half and half.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm like, that's really cool. and that's one thing I'm glad that Young Justice is the one show that got a resurgence, because man, Young Justice was another show that was really good, and there was so much fan support for it that they brought it back, and they've been killing it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Have you seen the trailer for the was it the Jon Stewart Green Lantern thing that's coming?
Mm-mm.
No.
That I'll find that and send the link for that too. That was impressive.
I have to look for that.
That it is I think it's Green Lantern Beware My Power. I think that's what it's called.
I have never heard of this.
Yeah, it's Jon Stewart based, and it's impressive.
I definitely have to check that out. Yeah, today I got an email from Hasbro about the HasLab Star Saber Victories Leo.
Yeah.
So they had to do a little video of like how the figure looks. With it's still pre-production. They're still trying to get the plastics right and making sure the tooling is good on it. But man, it looks fantastic. It's going to be about the same size as or pretty close to a Commander class. So it's pretty close to Jetfire or Skyfire.
Right.
Yeah. David's off on watching that video right now. He can't he can't help himself.
Man. Dude, I love me some Lantern. I want him to have more love. I really do. Like, I'm glad that Jessica Cruz is in that superhero girls show. Just give me more Lantern, guys. But don't give me another Earth. Don't give me another new Earth Lantern. For God's sakes, stop it. We're up to like 10 now.
There it is.
Just quit it.
Well, you could do the whole Earth One version of a Green Lantern.
And that's
I still need to pick that up. I haven't read it yet.
It's really good.
Okay.
It's really good. And that's like that would be the perfect version to do of Lantern for a movie, right? You can do that version of his origin where it's much more sci-fi in its beginning, right? And that was what made me so sad about the original Green Lantern movie, was the fact that it strayed so far away from just like diving in and staying celestial with its
Bits.
Yes, with its bits. It kept coming back to Earth. I'm like, no. Let's stay on Oa. Let's stay up there. Let's deal with the aliens.
Well, and the sad thing is like, as much as I enjoy Ryan Reynolds, it was like he was the worst choice for Hal, to me. The movie was too comedic. It needed to be more grounded in the lore of the comics, I felt.
Yeah.
Because having the whole thing of like Parallax just is just yellow. It's like, okay, we're Thanosing it. I mean, we're Thanosing it, but we're Galactusing it before Galactus.
Yeah.
Yeah. The villains of that movie were such a disappointment.
Mm-hmm.
Galactus being a giant fart monster. They almost did Hammond okay, and then they crapped all over it. And the saddest thing about that movie is the fact that they did such a good job of showing the variety of his power, right? Where it wasn't like the problem with the TV shows and the animated series versions of Green Lantern are somewhat disappointing to me, because every single thing he does, the Lantern does one of two things. He shoots generic laser out of his ring, or he grabs someone in a bubble. And that's it. Like in the animated series, Kilowog would just create his little hammers and trudge around and physically swing his hammer with his hands. And I was like, every once in a while they would break out and he would do something flashy. But that's why the best Green Lantern movie, bar none, that's come out so far, hopefully this Beware My Power one is really good, is Emerald Knights, right?
Yeah.
Emerald Knights, so good, where you saw the gamut of what Lantern can do with his ring, between them learning how to create those first constructs of just little blasts and the sword, to oh God, what's her name? Boudica, where it was all the traditional like Chinese / Japanese mix of the kunai and chain and the different swords and all that stuff, where she was fighting her father. Like, man, that movie was so good. So good. Like, guys, see, here you go again. Perfect way to just, if you want to show a cool superhero that can do so many different things. And maybe that's the problem, right? It's like whenever you walk into a store and you're like, I want peanut butter, and you walk over and there's 30 brands.
Yeah.
Like, okay, maybe I want the honey nut peanut butter, and there's like 15 brands. You're like, all right, I want the one that, is got all the oil on top, and I got to stir it. And now you're down to 5, but you still just got so many options to pick from that I guess people just can't handle it and can't just sit down and say, okay, here's the 2 that we're going to use and go forward with it. No, they get lost in the options, and then they lose sight of what could be. But oh well.
That happens with so many things right now. It's sad.
Especially with Warner Brothers.
Well,
Man,
you heard that they're gonna recast finally Ezra Miller's Flash.
Have they? Because the stuff that came out beginning of the week says they're not.
He is the worst Barry Allen ever.
It just footage. They released footage yesterday of his second arrest. The body cam footage of it.
I heard that they were going to get what's his name. Come on, was it? I'll look it up real quick.
People want Grant Gustin to be him.
I heard that, but they were looking at crap. What was it? I think it was the dude from oh crap. Hold on.
Okay. Insert Jeopardy music.
No, it's a good thing I can edit this shit out. Flash movie.
Dude.
Recast.
Not Jeopardy. Every time I think of fill-in music, I think of the Menomina song.
That's perfect.
I don't know where that came from, but it just, forever. It's just do.
Dylan O'Brien.
Who's that?
Dylan O'Brien.
Who is Dylan O'Brien? Help me out here.
Trying to remember what movies he was in.
Phenomenon.
No. No.
Phenomenon.
Oh, this guy. He was the main character in The Maze Runner.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Yeah.
Didn't see that.
Okay, here's my thing.
He's the main dude in Love and Monsters that I think no one watched.
Don't know it.
Yeah, he's been in a lot of stuff that a lot of people didn't watch, sadly. At least that's what I'm looking at his filmography.
That's not encouraging.
I mean, hey, there's been people from low level stuff that no one's heard of that want to do pretty decent things.
He may be in a lot of stuff I haven't heard of, but at least one thing I haven't heard of him being is in jail.
Yeah, or causing trouble in.
That is the trick.
He can be in a lot of movies and not be heard of, but he hasn't been in jail. I'm okay with that.
So I just got to ask.
All right.
But why can't you just cast a blonde actor to play Barry and a redhead to play Wally?
I mean, I was okay with the Wally they did for the CW. I mean,
I was too.
It made sense how they did it.
But you don't have to. Okay. Great thing about multiverse thing, you don't have to keep the same continuity between the TV show and your movie.
Right.
So you don't have to cast a someone with brown hair to play Barry Allen just because the original TV show had a brown haired Barry Allen. The new TV show has a brown haired Billy. God damn, I can't even say it. Barry Allen. And of course, Ezra Miller has black hair.
Yeah, I mean, it's like the original Justice League animated series, and then Justice League Unlimited. He was blonde in that. That had a good cross representation, and the characters were accurate. People fell in love with it for a reason.
I don't know, man. I guess I just never really thought about, oh yeah, Barry is blonde, because I'm just so used to him either seeing him in the mask, because like in the Justice League TV show, how many times do you honestly see Barry without the mask on?
A lot.
It was a fair amount.
A lot more than you do in the suit. Yeah,
man, I don't remember seeing him out of the suit.
You see him more as Barry than you do see him out of the suit. And I understand, because that costs money for the visual effects.
Wait, for the animated series?
No, for the Grant Gustin.
No, he's talking about the cartoon.
Yeah, because that's what Colin was talking about. It all of a sudden hit me.
Oh yeah, okay. I was thinking of live action, not versus him.
I mean, they did Barry a few times, and then there was that one. I can't remember if it was a movie or if it was a multi-part episode where they ended up in either another time or another dimension, and they had to go into the building, and they had to reveal all their identities. And Batman goes up and goes, Clark Kent, Diana Prince, Wally West. And he just went down the line and told everybody there, oh man. And Flash was just like, come on, that ain't fair. And he said then Bruce pulled his own mask back.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't know if I wanted to get into this topic or not on the podcast, but whatever. It's just I feel sometimes when you change certain things to fit a market, because it's not really done to, honestly, it's not done for the people they're doing it for. It's for the money. Right. And so they can branch out to get more money and more avenues of that money.
Right. It's pandering to a minor level.
Right. So at what point,
real quick, I knew something was messing with my head. The Flash in the old Justice League TV series is not Barry. It's Wally. Yes. The whole animated series.
Oh yeah. It's Wally. Yeah, and he's redhead.
Yeah.
Yes, that's why I'm in the back of my head. I'm like, did we ever see blonde Barry in the animated series?
No. I'm sorry. I didn't even.
It occurred to me while I was talking about it. It was post Flash dying in Crisis when when Barry was still verified dead.
Sorry, it took me a minute. I apologize. I completely derailed.
No, it's okay. He was redheaded.
Yeah, he was redheaded. Yeah.
So all the more reason why Wally is the better Flash in general.
I mean, considering the fact that most people now know, well, I take that back, but most people up to the point of the Flash TV series and maybe the new 52 knew of Wally. Most incarnations that we grew up with was Wally, because he had been gone for so long. I mean, Barry had been gone for so long.
Dead for a while.
So
but even right, Wally, like, and this goes back to where the comics used to do such a good job of passing the torch, right? Like during the 90s, on to the people that earned the new mantle. Because Wally started off not having full control of his powers, right? Whenever he would vibrate through matter, it would explode because he wasn't doing it correctly. And he got to a point where he became such a master of the Speed Force that he overcame Barry. He became better at manipulating the Speed Force. He became faster, all of it. He exceeded the previous Flash and became better, and then Rebirth for whatever reason, right?
Yeah. So
And
Oh, yeah,
also, I
'cause-
guess Bart was never going to take off for whatever reason.
well, and that's the thing. Had Ezra Miller been Bart Allen in the movie instead of Barry, I could have accepted that. He
Yeah.
plays more of a Bart than he does Wally or Barry.
Yeah.
You know, and explain the whole thing of him being stuck in he lives in a cave somewhere because he doesn't really have an existence. You know, I don't know. I get to the point right. This is I'll put it this way. This is as deep as I'm going to go on this topic. It's sad when like we grow up looking at characters and idolizing them, and then like there are representation, but there's other characters that represent other people as well, but they don't get the limelight. They don't ever get to shine. So, you know, and the sad thing is like we had Jon Stewart. We grew up with Jon Stewart. Great character. Have we got a portrayal of him live action other than the cameo appearance in the Flashpoint episode or whatever the whatever Flash crossover they did? But you didn't really see him have the ring.
Well, and he was supposed to be in Justice League, right?
Yeah.
Like that was the messed up part. You had this whole thing with Jon Stewart going to be in Justice League. It's like that would have been awesome to see that
Right.
that John.
So instead of
Thankfully now the animated, you know, they're now going to make an animated movie of John. I haven't watched the trailer yet. I hope it's not a reboot.
You're gonna enjoy it.
well, and then on top of that, you got what, Guy Gardner, who's redhead.
And Guy Gardner's going to be the main character of the HBO Max series.
If that will ever come to pass.
Yeah, I mean, they've cast him, so that's all I know.
At what point do we lose grip with where we're going? I guess with the grip of the wheel as far as the destination we're trying to achieve. Because I look at it this way, you know, my son, he's half mix. He's half Hispanic, half Italian. You know, and who is he going to idolize? Who is he going to look up to? And then when he's old enough, are those characters that he did idolize with, and they get a film adaptation, are there going to be his expectations of what it should be going to be cramped because somebody's going to recast him to be some other demographic or whatever fits the criteria for whatever they're trying to push,
or gender swap, or
yeah.
Which in and of itself is fine if you find an actor who can play the part very well. Like
correct, exactly. If the story's good and you make it believable, and you know, of course, it's like I don't have to have things that are gonna be exactly the same. But if you can't tell a good story without that, I mean, you think about the Josh Trank's freaking Fantastic Four and how
I'd rather not
abysmal that movie was with him doing what he did with that film. It's like it totally messed up the possibility of having what was tried to achieve with that film. You know,
basically they shoehorned that in so that they could try to hold on to the copyright. That's all it was in the end. I mean, it was a reboot that just did absolutely nothing.
And I don't know. It's one of those things that I just kind of like. I think the thing that got me was Snake Eyes. I grew up reading the comics. I grew up reading the show. I mean, watching the shows. I grew up playing with the toys. I understand the history of who that character is better than the writers who wrote that shitty movie. And on top of that, you cast an actor that is a face actor. He's never going to wear the mask. He didn't until the end of the movie. And that was in the trailers. Oh man, look, he's going to wear the mask. He's going to wear his mask. I mean, if we're going to go true to form here, I'm sorry, but that's not Snake Eyes' first costume. It was ski goggles and a ski mask, you know, with a baklava or whatever.
Yeah.
And then a freaking black turtleneck. Commando, you know, he was ex-military. You made him a villain of his own film. Jesus. Sorry.
I mean, at the end of the day, right? It's like it's just a rush. It's a rush to do cash grabs, right? I mean, it's like It's like the Halo TV show and how it has nothing to do with the games other than a bunch of names, right?
And the
Like,
visual effects that make it look like it.
Chief isn't Chief, right? Even though they keep calling it, even though he's supposed to be. It's like they keep wanting to tell these generic stories that they want to tell, which is fine. The problem is that the studios aren't going to back it, so they have to slap a name on the front and say, okay, hey, we want to tell some generic sci-fi war-ish story of people versus aliens. Okay, well, nobody's going to watch that garbage. Slap Halo on the front of it, and all of a sudden you got people at least sitting down at first to give it a try. Then you've got the diehard fans that are going to love it no matter what it is, that are going to stick around. So you're going to get, dude, they exist. Yeah, but I mean, they exist. It's like the people that like all the new Trek, right?
Or Star
You
Wars.
have the one set of fans that look at all the new Trek, from Discovery to Picard to all this stuff, and they look at it and they go, "This isn't Star Trek. This is a bunch of action movie, overly done, morose, boring, poorly written BS." And then other people go and they look at it and they go, "Hey, look, it's the Enterprise, and oh look, it's Patrick Stewart, and hey, check it out, it's 7 of 9." And never mind the fact that a lot
It's
of
all
these
the
characters,
look. It's like, look,
yes,
gotcha.
it's,
Gotcha.
hey,
Look.
hey, you
Your
remember
interest is
this,
waning.
right?
Look, there you go.
Hey guys, come on back. Look, it's Q. We brought him back. Isn't that
Yeah.
great? Do you remember Q?
Mhm.
Hey, I mean, it's just one of those things.
Basically,
where
it's like this. Look at me, 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 look at me.
Yeah, exactly. I mean,
no. It's not the finger, because over there is a bag, and that
yeah.
bag.
It's like, yeah. Look at this. Taking your
And
money. I'm taking your
saying,
money.
Here, as we hold this bag to you, just throw money.
Yeah.
If you throw more money in, we'll just give you more of this. And people are like, but this isn't really the thing that I want. And they're like, well, too bad. This is what you're getting. So you either take it or leave it. And it's like, you either throw it out with the garbage and say, well, I guess I'm done with this series now, or I guess I'm done with this IP, because they're never going to do it right ever again until it's trash. Or you say, all right, just take my money and keep giving. Maybe you'll get it right by season 5. Maybe you'll finally start doing something right that I'll enjoy.
You know what that's called? That's called what is it? The battered wife syndrome. He's good. He's gonna change. He's not gonna hit me. Why do you have a black guy? Oh, I fell.
He didn't mean it.
What is this? Freaking Little Shop of Horrors?
Good grief.
Yeah. I mean, it goes back to, as long, because a lot of it goes back to them, the elusive, what's it called? Common man audience, right? They're trying to bring in the new audience. They're trying to bring in new people. And so they got to make it different. Star Trek can't have all the talky scenes anymore. It's got to have bunches of guns and fighting and explosions and chases and all the stuff the kids love these days. No one wants to sit around and listen to Picard espouse on, the virtues of this, that, or the other, instead of going out and they just want to see a dude pull out a sword.
Except for they do that and it's boring storytelling. I mean, it's like, you think about you heard about them casting the new 13th Doctor or 14th Doctor?
No, dude, I stopped paying attention to Doctor Who like 4 doctors ago.
4 doctors ago. After David
the actor.
I barely paid attention to Tenet. Like, everybody was talking about Doctor Who when Tenet was going on, so I'm like, let me start at the beginning. And I watched about 3 or 4 seasons in. So like, I think I got 2 seasons into Tenet's run, and then I was like, okay. And then I moved on, and I never came back, because I think it was a fine show. It's
not as good as the originals, man. It's not as good as like the 4th, 5th, 6th Doctor. It's just. But
I will say, Tom Baker is my favorite Doctor Who, but David Tennant is a close second.
Is Baker the scarf one?
Yes. That's the 4th Doctor.
Okay,
his Doctor was amazing. That's the one yeah.
Because of my dad and Colin, that was my first, and Ray.
Yeah, it was it was a great series.
Yeah. And it's sad because like Matt Smith was great, and then I didn't watch anything of Peter Capaldi, but Dad said he enjoyed him. But you know, when they brought in the new actress, I can't remember her name.
Jodie Whittaker.
Jodie Whittaker.
It looked interesting. I just
I mean,
by that point I didn't have anything to stream it. I wasn't able to get the service to stream it, so I was never able to see it. And then at that point, I was confused, and my boys have never seen Doctor Who, but they know that the 12th one was supposed to end it. So they rewrote the rules for 13 for her, and now 14 is here, and I don't even know how to pronounce his name. It's like all consonants or something at his first name. I'm like, what is that? And
I'm glad I'm glad they're going back to I mean, I don't know. It's weird now because it's like, okay, we kind of went through the whole thing of having a woman, and instead of like casting another woman to kind of go and just explore how things may change with a different actress that may be a little bit more compelling than Jodie, and they go back to a male. And I don't know anything about this guy. I don't know anything about what he's watched. I don't know if he's going to be good. But I mean, you got like what? Ian McGregor to come in and, you know, be the doctor for a little while with his Scottish accent.
Well, now that he's doing Obi-Wan, that'd be a lot.
Huh? Or his Irish? Isn't he Irish? I don't remember what.
What are you talking about, man? He's too busy being Obi now.
He's Obi-Wan Kenobi. Obi-Wan.
Get Matt Ryan.
I haven't heard in a long time. You know him. Of course I know him. He's me. Anyway. But I don't know. It's just we're getting to the point where you can't even tell a good story and keep close to the source material. You know, Anna enjoyed what she watched a little bit of The Wheel of Time, but she overall didn't like it. I mean, because it was so different. Things were all mixed around. It didn't follow the book a whole lot, and then they went into stories that weren't even in the book. You know,
and really that's the sad part about it, right? It goes back to like the Kathleen Kennedy mindset of, oh, hey, we don't have this rich history to draw from, so we got to make up all our own stuff. It's like, what are you talking about? You got like over 20 years,
30, 40 years of stuff you had to
draw from. What do you mean you got to make it all up your own? Are you an idiot? But it goes back to this idea where it's like, I don't know if it's this idea that they think that they're smarter and that their stories are better, that they feel the need to go and try and tell these tales, but slap the faces that everyone wants to see on it to draw butts into seats, right? I don't know if it's that, or if it really is them thinking that, oh no, this is like, people are really legitimately going to, you know, I guess it's, yeah, they think that, oh, I can do better, and people are going to legitimately like what the new spin that I put on this character to make it new and fresh and interesting. Never mind the fact that people have been clamoring just to see some of these stories and some of these characters told for the first time.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, tell the story for the first time. And then if you want to tell stories within this world, then you can go and tell your own story, right? Fan fiction exists for a reason. And if you can monetize your fan fiction, man, 50 Shades made a ton of money. And that was fan fiction that somebody monetized, and it blew up into this big thing. But you can take that stuff and turn it into a fan fiction within that world, so long as, you know, the rights holder.
It's the aughts fan fiction stuff, man. It's when people that be like, I'm gonna do my own fan fiction. I'm gonna write myself in, and I'm gonna kill off the main characters. Then it's my story.
Right. And that's where like Mandalorian did a good job, right? Of, hey, we're in this universe, but I'm staying away from all the stuff that people know, but I'm giving them enough of the things that they like and that they're aware of in this world, to draw them in and have them remember, like, oh yeah, lightsabers and droids and the Empire and all this stuff. It's like, that's what you need to do. Again, it's if you don't want to tell the story that was told, I mean, that's your choice. I would I would think you would start here and then dovetail over here, because I mean that's what Marvel's done, right? Marvel went out and they're like, hey, here's our big core set of characters. There they are. Let's tell these stories, and people are going to enjoy them or not as they come.
Mhm.
And then as it's progressed, now they're like, all right, let's go start pulling some of the more off the wall characters that, let's dig down deep into like our D tier and start throwing people out there and seeing what sticks, right? And then you can start telling those stories. Then you can start reaching out. And it's like, if you're going to do a Halo show, don't make it about Master Chief. Make up some other random Spartan, put it in some other time, right? You could do the whole, hey, here's kind of like a beginning of the flood that they didn't realize.
Reach. Let's just take Reach and make it into a TV series.
Yeah. Or I mean, no, but see, again, that's telling an already told story. If you don't want to do that because you'll piss off people because it doesn't match what they want, then you can take that general idea, tweak it a little bit, and go tell it over here. Just don't call it Reach. Go call it something else. Make up some new lore within the overall lore.
Well, here's your sandbox. Here's events that fit within this sandbox that you can't move.
They're on the four corners.
Figure out what you want to do, but don't sit there and knock the walls out so the sand falls out and no one can play with it. Don't take out your pillars that are supposed to be structural that you need for building these great things. And it's like, okay, I'm going to make paper mache blocks, and that's what I'm going to play with instead of these amazing blocks that have like cool effects and they may light up that were already provided to you.
So again, it goes back to, again, it feels like there's so many of these people that want to tell their generic versions of these stories, but the only way to get people to pay attention is by putting the names on it, right? Yeah. And maybe that's more the studios in the background forcing that out there because, hey, we need name recognition to this stuff, otherwise nobody's going to care. Or they really do nostalgia. Have that level of interest.
Mm-hmm. It's all about that nostalgia, man. Unfortunately, it's like
watching some of this stuff is like watching somebody try to teach 5-year-olds how to cook a steak. They'll know all the words, but forget about it. They won't even get you close.
Yeah. It's I don't know, man. It's just one of those things where, not everything out there is white hot steaming garbage, but
no, there are some really good diamonds in the rough of things that we've been finding lately, and it's the obscure things, so the things that are not known by mainstream audiences that are taking off. You think of like Ultraman. Ultraman has been around a long time, but it's still doing very well.
Yeah, it's because they're just chugging along at the same pace. Mm-hmm. They're being slow and steady.
Even Godzilla. I mean, we got the new Legendary Godzilla. Great, but that's because Legendary knows what the heck they're doing. The directors they've been getting knows what the heck they're doing. They respect the source material. You can write a story around these characters that are going to be great because we get to see Godzilla regardless. We get to see these giant kaiju battles. I mean,
I hope they slow down on the next. They've announced that they've got a lead actor for the next movie. Mm-hmm. They're saying Godzilla versus Kong sequel, but who knows what it's going to be in the end. I hope they slow down a little bit with stuffing all the kaiju in there.
Well, I'd like to see some of the other kaiju within Godzilla's lore.
You could go with a couple of the other ones. You don't have to have a kaiju fest.
I mean, come on, we could see Gamera. That'd be great. Even though Gamera is not part of Godzilla, but I'd love to see Anguirus and.
Well, Gamera could be part of Godzilla.
Oh yeah, you could. I'd love to see freaking what's his name, Gigan show up. I'd love to see come on.
I would like to see proper treatment of Rodan.
Yeah, that's true too. I would as well.
I mean, because they really undersold it.
But what else? It's like we got to see what a bad Ghostbusters movie would look like, and we got to see what an excellent Ghostbusters movie looks like.
Exactly.
And that one's actually going to get a TV series and possibly a sequel movie. I'm down for that, because it takes someone who knows the material, enjoys it, and loves it to make it good, not someone who's using it as a stepping stone to push their statement or agenda or whatever they're trying to do. They think that these things are going to work out, and they never do.
It was them just retelling the original story, right? They wanted to tell their generically not funny version of it.
Yeah.
Instead of you could have told the story of those characters, but not completely taken over what the original was. You could have just made them a continuation of the original Ghostbusters, like what Afterlife did, right? It's like you could have shown that progression to, hey, here's how it started, here's kind of what happened in the middle a little bit, and now here's where we're at, and now you have these new characters that are going out and doing these own things, and you could have told that story without just erasing what came before. And that's that kind of attitude of you have to erase what came before is the problem, right?
Yeah.
That's the thing is like you got to destroy it and burn it to the ground so that way yours stands on top. It's the the Roman tactics of taking over everything, except for at least that they would take a little bit of the stuff that was there so you'd have people following you. We can't even do that.
No, that's what they did. It was Ghostbusters, so people came to watch Slimer and the proton packs and all that. No, they still did it the Roman way.
Yeah, they did. Yeah, they did it. Yeah,
they will take the pieces off the corpses and show them to you, and come to you and say, "Hey, look, here are the Ninja Turtles. Come and watch them with us." And then you get over there and you look around and you're like, "Wait,
no,
why is this not the Ninja Turtles?" And like, no, look, there they are. They're right there. You see the Ninja Turtles. And they're like, okay, cool, but none of this story is anything to do with them. Why are you different? Oh, because we just want to tell a different story. It's like, all right, cool, but did we really have to scrap everything to get here? Like, y'all couldn't have just gone out and, I don't know, tried to reboot Street Sharks into this? Like, you really had to do this with the Turtles? I don't understand. Or anything else, right? And again, it goes back to they keep taking these things and they want to tell their generic version of it, but they have to make it seem like they care about what came before. Well, even though a lot of times it feels like they don't.
What is it? It's the producer's method for coming up with films. It's like, what can I do to make the biggest opening that's going to suck, but we'll make the most money on the first night showing?
I mean, that's what it feels like sometimes, man. It really does. And like, I want people to tell their stories, right? Like, as generic and dumb as it is, they could have the most generic, stupid story of all time, but it might be entertaining with whatever characters they have. Just don't tell me that this is Master Chief, right? Don't tell me that this guy said this, dopey person over here is supposed to be Picard. Don't tell me that, these characters are supposed to be these characters that I've seen in all this other entertainment shows, and they have this specific personality, and now you're presenting them to me in a completely different way.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, well, it's a different universe. That doesn't show. Then don't show them. Yeah. Then don't show her. Then don't show this team. Don't show that group. Go tell your generic story about the Centerprise, ship that was over on the other side of the.
You know who did that well? Seth MacFarlane with the Orville, man. I mean,
you love the Orville.
Another thing you think about, like freaking, like, was it Thor Ragnarok with the whole freaking Matt Damon as Loki and all them redoing the whole story of Thor and Loki, and it's like that was great. It was handled fantastically and a great movie. I mean, it's just if you want to do something satire. Don't try to take something. I mean, you think about PG Gorman. Still fantastic movie, other than the fact it's got some problems. I'd still rather watch that than Turtles or
I mean, you don't even have to do with satire, right? Like you can tell a good original serious story you want to tell. Just don't keep trying to tie it to all these other properties. If you want to try and tell a new, like there's a bunch of series that have cropped up out there that people have, you know, developed interest in, right? Like every IP existed in a vacuum at some point where no one gave a shit about it. And then one day people discovered it and realized they liked it because of the stories that they were telling. And that's what drew the crowds in. And it's like, don't take an IP, strip all the stuff out of it that people know and love about it, and then inject all your crap into it and say, hey, here's this thing that you love. Why don't you want to watch more of it? It's like, it's because it's not the thing that I love. You've completely redone it and it's something different. It's like, if you would just do that something different as your own thing and see if it can stand on its own, it might, or it might fail, right? But that's how it breaks.
Well, and that's the thing I was going to add too, because you just talked about that. They take all the stuffing and then inject their shit into it, and it's like, I'm thinking of freaking Men in Black with Vincent D'Onofrio. Is this better? That was still fantastic. I mean, that's the best way to do it. Yeah. You take the old skin and put something even better inside. Sometimes.
Okay. Another movie that I thought of that kind of fits into all this was the 2005 Constantine movie. Keanu Reeves, he was an okay John Constantine. The story itself was a good story.
Yeah.
And I stand by the fact that if you went back and renamed all the characters and relabeled that movie, it would actually have a chance on its own.
I
think you took all the names of the Constantine people out of it and renamed them, it would stand a chance because the story itself held up well.
Yeah, it was a good movie. It was a good movie. In general, it was a good movie. Whether it be a good Constantine, that's up to interpretation. But you think about it too, DC couldn't do really good films, so they still can't do really good films. And I still think
Warner
that
Brothers.
Keanu Reeves could have done a good Constantine had they given him the ability to.
Yeah, I mean,
you got to think about how the character was written.
But I mean, you have a good point. Yeah, absolutely. It was a solid supernatural detective, story, that interesting world and everything to it. Yeah. I mean, it's kind of like I was just talking with my wife and son about the Buzz Lightyear movie, because as we saw a trailer for it the other day on something, and I was like, the funny thing is, if that's not Buzz Lightyear, that actually looks like a pretty interesting sci-fi like movie by itself.
Yes.
Right.
Why the hell is it Buzz Lightyear? That's the part of it that my brain can't get itself around. It's like, why is it Buzz? Just why? Why isn't it just? But again, it comes back to they've got to put that market on it. They've got to put that face to it. You got to have that name recognition. Otherwise, nobody cares. Otherwise, you're going to have another John Carter. It's going to bomb at the box office. No one's going to go watch it. But if it's Buzz Lightyear, all of a sudden, oh man, I got to go watch it because Toy Story and nostalgia and all that stuff.
Right.
Well, it's the whole nostalgia thing. Because I mean, it's funny too. You look at the ship designs; they're fantastic. You look at his design and the aliens and the world in that thing looks great. But if you look at the toys, it's just freaking. It's just a repackaged version of the toy that we got back in the day. I mean, it's just like, even him in the suit, it's like, okay, yeah, I see. Yeah, I mean, like, instead of like making a more stylized version that looks just like what we're seeing on the screen, it's like they made a toy of the show instead of making a toy of what we're seeing on screen.
Yeah.
And
I mean, I don't know, man. I don't know what's going to cause the sea change. I don't know what's going to cause them to wake up and realize, hey, guys, you can just create new IPs. I promise. It can be done, right? New IPs are created. There is new stuff that comes out that people will gravitate towards and enjoy because it's enjoyable and fun, and there's something interesting and there for people to sink their teeth into. You don't have to keep rehashing the same characters and the same plots and the same things over and over again. It's just, I don't know, man. I don't know what it'll take, but
well, and the sad thing is and it's with society. Unfortunately, we live in a world where it's cool to be a nerd again. I mean, completely all out. Everybody is into everything.
Right.
But
unfortunately, the attention spans are a lot shorter now.
Correct. We used to be able to watch 50 seasons of something, or 50 episodes in one season of something and be completely invested and to go read the comics and have really good stories.
But we also had to watch it week to week, right? Like you saw episode 1 on 1 week, and then you saw episode 2 the next week, and you saw episode 3 the next week, and you had to be patient and wait. And now you can sit down and watch all 5 seasons of something in a
gratification, man.
Yeah. And the seasons are getting shorter.
Yep.
And in all of our lifetimes, we've watched seasons go from 50 episodes to 20 something episodes down to 17, down to 10, and now down to 6.
Yeah. That's what I was kind of upset about with Ultraman. It was only six episodes.
And Moon Knight's only 6 episodes.
Well, and the funny thing about it, and like Moon Knight kind of does it, and a lot of the shows that I've seen kind of do it, and I've talked about it before, like with Boba Fett, where it feels like they're rushing to an emotional beat that they're not earning, right? It's like as I'm watching it, I see where they start, and I see where they're going, and it feels like there's a gap of time that they just kind of pull out and throw away, just so they can get from A to B a little bit quicker. And so there's emotional beats that they miss in between, so that by the time it gets to the end, that emotional hook isn't quite there. And so I wonder if it just really is this class of screenwriters needing to hone their craft down to this new format, right? How much of it is we literally aren't used to the format, right? Even writers themselves haven't quite grasped how to condense down.
Well, most British shows are 6 episodes per season. Like even like Red Dwarf and a couple other shows that I watched that are only 6 episodes per season. And I don't know if it's just like you said, the time frame that people have, what the studio is trying to do. But the problem is that originally that season, Boba Fett was supposed to have at least 8 episodes. And a lot of that's probably because of the fact that they had to truncate things down because the ratings were bad towards the first 3 episodes until Mando showed up. And and that's the thing, is like people want this. See, I think that's the reason why, like, Boba Fett, the Book of Boba Fett, sorry, not Mando, but Book of Boba Fett had a problem, is because of the fact that like most people are now used to the consume a season in one sitting and then wait for the next season, versus like what Disney's approach is. It's a slow burn. Had you watched everything all at once, would you still have the same feeling that everyone had because you had to wait?
Well, that's possible,
because most people aren't used to that anymore. We used to have like, we had
time to digest.
We had time to digest, to put it in our, but we knew that when we're telling a story, we had only that time window that we could tell the story in. So we had to tell complete stories when we're releasing.
Right. Or at the very least, you had to hit certain
beats. Yeah, certain beats.
Yeah.
Within that episode, so that if you did end it on a cliffhanger, right? Or if you did end it with hey, there's a continuation of this overall storyline, you at least had some sense of completion or some sense of gain or or closure, whatever was required for that episode, so that whenever you came out of it, you're like, all right, cool. Now what happens next? And that's, again, kind of goes back to, I wonder how much of it is people aren't appreciative of how to fully construct these seasons anymore.
Correct.
Right.
Well,
or how to construct these stories for the formats anymore.
Yeah, and if you,
as like you said, maybe the format changes, and maybe that format changing is a reaction to what they're seeing in real time, which is unfortunate, right? Because maybe Boba Fett would have been better if it had been 8 episodes and they would have been able to tell a little bit more of the story, or it just would have been 2 extra episodes of the Skittle Rangers and their stupid speeders.
Well, and I wonder, had the thing is like, had they had time to think about planning out the stories, you probably could have brought in some of the other bounty hunters. You could have brought in other elements to the story of having Fett deal with other things as the crime lord versus like him just dealing with the Hutts for an episode, or him dealing with the Pike Syndicate the whole time. And it's like, you could have had the Black Sun. You could have had, a lot of other things going on that they didn't even include.
Oh, hey, look, it's Cad Bane, everybody.
Yeah.
Oh, now
he's not dead.
Whatever. It's like, oh, well, I guess that's over with now.
Yeah. Well, and that's the sad thing. You had this great moment of a character showing up, and like, at least in 2 episodes, you had like this just build up with him. And then it just felt like having Grogu show up. And that's the thing. We haven't done an episode just talking about what our thoughts about how that series panned out. We were talking about up to a point and then we stopped. But having Grogu come back and then having R2 being the one who flew him back was just stupid. Should have been Luke. Luke should have been the one flying him there. But Luke should have been the one that came to save Boba Fett and them. Because Grogu asked him to. And that would have been like, if you're going to train me, I sense this happening. You need to go help me out. And if you help me out, I'll commit myself to the training. But
this also goes to the problem that I have where, Mando and Grogu literally just separated. It just happened.
Yes, there was no time to grow. There was no time away.
Immediately they're back. And it's like, no, what did you do? Why did you mend this already? You needed a couple episodes of their separation
you needed a season apart.
How that goes, and then you bring them together. And again, it's this. I don't know how much of it is just reactionary of, oh shit, this is going badly. We need to get back to the thing that everybody likes. So quick, put them back together, right?
Quick, scramble. We got to fix this, yeah.
And how much of it is that's actually what they planned, right? They planned to throw them back together that quicker, which goes back to them missing those emotional beats between those moments to make that reunion all the more impactful from it. Right. And that's kind of what I get back to. I don't know how much of it is this issue that they're being pressed on by the studios. How much of it is reactionary to the viewership and the ratings, and just how much of it is them not knowing what the hell they're doing.
Well, we're dealing with the power struggle between the two Bobs and Kathleen Kennedy and her leaving and stuff. So you can definitely see the controls of how she had her hands on the first half of the season of Book of Boba Fett versus the latter half. But the problem is that the way they did it screwed things up. I mean, they didn't give growth. They didn't give time apart. I don't know. We already discussed this, but it's just, I don't know. I feel that they need to do something big with Mandalorian season 3 that's gonna captivate the audience. And I mean, I have hope for I have hope for Obi-Wan, but I just don't know, because I don't know how much she was involved in the storytelling, because you had to, this was being in production at the same time as Book of Boba Fett, and they were probably just doing the whole post-production, all the CGI and all that stuff. So I don't know. I mean, it's sad when you have someone that is literally trying to destroy everything that we love and hold dear, and you have two guys that are trying to do their best they can, but they're being, hamstrung at every moment they turn. But hopefully, after Obi-Wan, things start to get better. That's all I can hope. I really want them to scrap the sequel trilogy. They need to, because at this point in time, the only thing that's most people, it's like, oh yeah, so my Star Wars is episode 1 through 6 and Mandalorian. That's it. But they could have done a little bit more world building in this.
Friday night.
You could have had someone come up as like Forlom show up and talk to Fett about, hey, we want to do some trade with Cloud City here. Him trying to do something, and any kind of thing that would have expanded the universe off of Tatooine, other than the few episodes we did get where he was going to different planets. I mean, not Fett, but Mando, because it was really cool to see that Halo type planet in episode 4.
Well, see, and that's where like, and it goes back again, if they really want to splinter off and tell these different stories in that universe, that's where like that the animated Star Wars show, right? Like
Rebels and
no. The one that they did the shorts of. Like the anime version of everything, right? Like 3/4 of those episodes were I hated them completely. But there was a few in there that were like an interesting concept or an interesting idea or an interesting set of characters that it's like, hey, if you took more of Weird Cat Girl and the other and like in that world that they built off of, where you had like the warring factions between these two, and you chose to tell more of that, it's like that you created an interesting area, an interesting spot, an interesting couple characters that if you flesh them out a little bit more, you might actually find good stories to tell there in this overall universe. And you don't have to worry about touching the Skywalkers or the Palpatines or Thrawn or any other bullshit that's going to piss people off. You can just tell this cool little story that you started the grassroots of, and go tell that. Go tell these cool stories about these cool characters, and have them go do interesting, because that's all anyone really wants. You just want a cool story where people do interesting things
within the universe that follow the universe's lore and physics, and it's everything. I mean, the visual look, there's a feeling that you have when you watch Star Wars that was not there in the sequels.
Yeah.
And was barely there with Book of Boba Fett. I love seeing Fett. I love seeing him come out of the Sarlacc pit. I didn't mind the whole Tusken Raider stuff. But there was just like adding the biker gang that was just out of Star Wars element. It is completely out of left field and is not Star Wars. Maybe if it was on Coruscant, comes one of the core worlds, but not on the Outer Realm like that. It just felt out of place. It was like no different from watching that than watching Blade Runner, as far as like, especially when he went to the cybernetic doctor for Finnick, and they're playing the music and stuff, and it's like, that doesn't feel like Star Wars. It's too much of real world invading into my science fiction. That is the thing. I want to go away from my real world. I want to watch. It's my escapism. I don't need to have like things that remind me of my world right now.
Right.
Or the things I'm dealing with in my world right now. And not that it's bad, but it's not Star Wars. I mean, tell like the Outer Worlds. I could see something like that in the Outer Worlds if it was a TV show. I could see if it was Star Trek, because Star Trek has that type of element to it, but it did not feel like it was Star Wars to me.
That's fair.
But there's other moments I did love. I love the final battle. I love seeing Fett riding the Rancor. I I love seeing Fett and Mando teaming up together and fighting the Pike Syndicate. Would have been great if IG-88 showed up in Dengar and Zuckuss and any of the other bounty hunters that are out there that would have came at the beck and call of Fett. If you know any kind of lore, Bosk would have been there. I mean, geez, there's so much stuff that could have been happening that they did not even include. And you don't even have to cast anybody. You just freaking get a stunt double and put the makeup on. And, I just missed opportunities.
Yeah. So we'll see if they can, again, right the ship on a lot of this stuff. And
yeah, I hope so. I really do.
Maybe one of the Green Lantern show will show up and it'll be good. I'm not gonna hold my breath though.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we got Ezra showing up at some point. I'd love to see, Wedge show up in the show. He's the leader of the Rogue Squadron. Ugh, I can't speak.
The Wogues.
The Rogue Squadron. I can't speak right. My tongue doesn't want to speak right now. Anyway, then I'm gonna have a hit concept. Oh, geez, I can't.
Don't you make me go back to that.
I don't know how I made you go back to that, my friend. Maybe I need them a couple more drinks. Anyway, yeah, I don't know. I mean,
I got a whole pack of Natty Light over here. It's got your name on it. If you want to come drop on by.
All right.
Only if it's Natty Light ice.
Please make sure it's chilled. I can't stand warm beer. Makes my tummy
explode in my truck when I'm driving down the highway.
Oh goodness.
Jeez, there's an episode. We all just talk like we're a bunch of hicks from Texas.
We just all pick a bad accent and run with it. see, we can outdo each other. How bad we get.
How long can we go with this accent? Yeah, see, I like the Star Wars. It's fantastic.
Oh man, if I stick for this too long, it will stick for like a day at least. I will sit here and hold this thing for as long as it takes. I will talk for hours like this, and then I'll get off and I'll go over and I'll start talking to my kids, and I'll realize, oh shit, I'm still using the stupid accent. God, dog it.
No, what's gonna happen is I'm gonna get this phone call, ring. Vince, this is David's wife. What the hell did you do? Why is he talking in an accent? He's been talking like this for 3 weeks.
You broke my husband.
You're grounded from the podcast. Oh, damn it.
Right.
I don't know. I just really hope things are going to get better because it's, I'm looking forward to Cobra Kai season 5. And then Stranger Things. Just gonna see how things go with that. But
I mean, again, it's either it'll all burn down and we'll all get to discover new stuff to love, or they'll get some stuff right and we'll have some stuff to enjoy out of the wreckage.
Well, there's always anime. I mean, at least that way I can watch something new with great storytelling, great character development, and not have to worry about the nonsense I have to worry about here.
I mean, you don't have to worry about them just trying to use the same IPs over and over, unless you're going to go watch Baruto, in which case...
No, I'm going to go watch, the next Dragon Ball Super movie, Superhero, when it comes out next month or something.
If it comes out.
Yeah, he's finally going to go beyond Super Saiyan 2 and Mystic form.
It's been a long time coming.
Yeah. I heard that Cell they may be having Cell as the villain.
Oh God.
But I like this one theory I heard that it may be Android 21 that's actually inside the ball, which is the villain they created for Dragon Ball Fighters.
Yeah.
That'd be kind of cool. I'd love to see a new character introduced besides the two gammas. And she turns them into candy and eats them, and she's like, "All right, I'm gonna fight you guys and then turn you into candy. I'm hungry."
There you go. I'd be fine with that.
Yeah.
I want to see more Broly. I want my boy back.
Oh yeah, I want your bro. He's in the movie. He's training with Whis and Goku.
For some portion, yeah.
Yeah. So it's gonna be fantastic. I
saw a thing where it was a breakdown, and it was like all these different animes and the goals of the different characters, right? And it was like, this one character trying to find their father, episode 12. This person trying to do this 20 episodes. Naruto become Hokage, episode 772. This, that, and the other. And then the very last one was Luffy become Pirate King before we're dead, and then a bunch of question marks.
How about Conan going back to his
adult size.
Adult size.
Never gonna happen, man.
No, it's like, sorry, Rachel, you're an old woman. We were supposed to get married, but I'm a kid. Yeah, we've gone off the rails here.
Yeah,
that's our specialty, guys.
Here we are.
So
good talk.
Yeah, this is a pretty good episode. I needed to vent after this last week and a day or 2 days or so. But we hope you enjoyed this episode, guys. I know we just kind of bantering, talking about different things, raving. But remember, please give this episode a like if you enjoyed it. It really helps me understand the algorithm and that you guys enjoy it. Leave a comment. Let us know what you would like us to talk about next. We actually have a couple ideas for the next couple weeks. And once we hit episode 50, we're actually going to do that one live. I'll hopefully be able to post a date on that at some point on Twitter. And then I'll try to get my dad back on for that one. If not, we'll see who's available. I know us three, of course, and we'll try to make it a special one. But yeah, also, if you need something else to like leave a comment for, tell us about a show or a movie that you watched and what you enjoyed about it. If not, tell us about something you didn't like and what you wish you could change about it. But until then, have a good one. Catch you later.
Deuces.